And the thing is, if you don't want to grind leak code, I don't think you could really do that in this day and age. But for computer engineering companies, right, or for I worked at defense contractors, internships, they're all asking knowledge level questions about computer architecture. And there's nothing more impressive than being able to just getting it out there, a perfect explanation. So, what's up, dude?
Yeah, are you in my community?
Yeah, no, we spoken before.
Oh, okay. Do you want to do a C++ problem?
Yeah,
All right, log into getcracked. I'm gonna pick you a getcracked question. I want to see how you think.
it's gonna be pretty bad, but let's do it.
See, first
Okay,
of all, tell
got
us a
you
bit
right
about your
here.
background. We want to hear about you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, shit, it's finally good to be on the stream. I've been watching me and my boy. We're kind of working on a startup right now, and we always watch the videos and stuff. But I got I got a bachelor's in computer engineering
Do you
from a
build
local
operating
college.
systems? Do you and your friend build operating systems?
Nah, we're working on a like AI DSP type of chip. Not really AI, but that's a buzzword we gotta use.
Okay.
Bachelor's computer engineering. I just finished my master's at NYU today in computer engineering. So more of a hardware background, more of a FPGA background right now. That's kind of what I've been working on. So I'm trying to do two things at once. So if my speech is into, let's see,
And what are your
allow.
goals? What are your goals?
Yeah, but for quant, I'm actually trying to go more on the hardware or for quant side.
Don't pick the
So
cooked
not
one. Yeah, sorry, pick the I'm
okay.
single question. Pick the I'm single. All right, all right, all right. Chat, you ready to see how he performs? Don't get too
I'm
stressed.
gonna get cooked.
No, 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 you're fine. It's a cooked level problem.
All right. Well,
Probably not.
that's basically the max. So I actually had a not to get too deep, but I actually had an interview with RenTech. So this is why I need to focus on C because
Oh
I
shit.
failed that horribly.
What they grill you
Yeah.
on? Wait, that's more interesting than this shit. What they grill you on?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, CJ, by the way. I'm not like this problem's kind of out of my league. Like if you want to do like a raid problem, I got you, but this is a kind of crazy.
Okay, well, let's
But we could talk about it. Yeah, for
I'll have
RenTech.
somebody else do this. That's fine. We want to hear about your RenTech
Okay.
stuff.
Guys, if you're interested in the world of quantitative development, quantitative trading, or hardware engineering, getcracked.io is the premier platform for that. We recently started developing a lot of trading-related games. Our question bank and our learning trees on quantitative development will not stop growing. These are all handwritten questions by me and other incumbents in the industry. And we recently signed an agreement with a partner that has over 30 years of experience in digital design to build out the hardware engineering-related component of the website. That includes FPGA, ASIC, System Verilog, HLS, VHDL, coding problems, quizzes, questions, etc. Make sure to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I've had again, like for the most part, my resume, which again is more hardware based, has passed like for OAs, for Optiver, Hudson River Trading. We spoke about this, I think, like maybe 5 months ago on a call I paid.
Sure.
We spoke about resume, and you told me, you probably could, you're fine for quant, whatever. So RenTech was interesting because it wasn't an OA. I don't think they do OAs, perhaps, but I did get a recruiter screening. And this was for a research infrastructure engineer position. So not exactly quant dev, but not, somewhere in the middle, I guess, more on the infrastructure side. And I was pretty excited because RenTech,
Right.
they only really accept PhD level cracked engineers.
Right.
Like
Like
at least to even
Squad.
get, even to get through. And my resume doesn't really show much of that, so I'm not sure what they were interested in, but it's okay. I got in. The call, it's actually funny because the call I had with the HR woman was she asked me a bunch of questions that I feel like are even simpler than the questions you would ask. And I'm not sure if they were for screening, but they were for screening, but I'm not sure like if they were screening for skill or just like experience, because I was asked questions like, what Linux kernel version do you use? What versions of C++ do you use? Can you name, your favorite features in C++, 11, 17, whatever you're using, right? Asked me a lot, like that was kind of it with the HR screen. So that's findable online, so that I kind of study that, but also you should just know how to sort of go through and like find out on your own with the commands and whatnot, know your own system. And then, so I was waiting on that. I never got through to the technical interview because I'm assuming the actual engineer saw my resume and was like, yeah, this guy's not, material for the C++ part of this. He's not, you didn't all get cooked. So that's kind of as far as it went, but I took that as kind of like a sign that at least like, I have the opportunity to get in. So that's kind of how my RenTech interview went.
Interesting.
I'm sorry if that's not an interview. But
So when
that's
they're
kinda
asking
what
like what
happened.
version of Linux are they using? Are they looking for I use Red Hat version whatever? I use Ubuntu
No. They
2004.
don't care about the distro. They want to know the kernel.
Oh,
Yeah, the
so even
kernel
lower.
was the lowest level of that
Oh,
for Linux.
thought I heard Linux
And then
version. Okay.
and that was the simplest question they kind of asked for Linux, like more just like what you're doing. Like, do you even know like the differences between kernel versions? Like, it makes sense they would ask that. C++ again was just versioning, favorite, worst, whatever features, which features you use the most. So I think they were kind of just testing for or how much experience you have in what they want.
It's funny because I thought when Coding Jesus asks what version of C++ are you using, nobody asks that. And that's a dumb question. And then
I mean,
nobody actually screens with that information. Weird, right?
you know what's weird? And the way I think about it, because I've done interviews in like small corporate companies, startups. It seems like mid-level companies don't ask that, but or like it's weird. Like there's a group of companies that don't care about that and kind of just do the leak code, but companies that don't do leak code care so much about that.
Exactly.
And the thing is, if you're bad or if you don't want to grind leak code, I don't think you could really do that in this day and age. But for computer engineering companies, right, or for I worked at defense contractors, internships. They're all asking knowledge level questions about computer architecture to some extent. And there's nothing more impressive than being able to just, even the simplest question in computer architecture would be like, what is a register? Like just getting it out there, a perfect explanation. So, I mean, anyone that says that either hasn't had, interviews or like different type of interviews. I don't know why they would say that. But yeah, no, those are all trivia questions to some extent.
Right, but they're trivia in the sense that like if you've worked with the Linux kernel, you know the different versions and what they've added or removed.
Well, they're trivia because you can know the answer, so you can memorize. Right, my Linux kernel version is this. This is what's in C++ 17. You can memorize it, but I think, because the HR woman wasn't, she wasn't some random HR woman. This is a RenTech HR woman.
She was
She
cracked.
knows. I'm not sure if she's cracked, but she knows something. And if you say, for example, yeah, I like C++ 17 because you could add commas or whatever to big numbers, so it's easier to format. They don't care, and they know you probably just saw that on a what was in C+ 17 list versus if you're a quant dev with actual experience, you'll mention something that was, useful in quant situations. So I think that was kind of cool that they did that.
I see. Well, that's good to know, man. Do you have any other things, like maybe what Optiver asked you, stuff like that?
Optiver, I did FPGA, I did a quant dev OA, or I did a quant research OA, an FPGA OA, and a quant dev OA. It was the FPGA one was like very simple digital design and computer architecture. I'm gonna say that.
Okay.
The quant dev was typical like leak code hacker rank questions, probably in the medium to hard level. And the quant research was just the green book stuff. And it's weird, but with Optiver versus other companies, they seem to accept or send you to OA much easier than any other company, which is what I noticed.
It might be auto. It might be auto send.
I think they if you get the keyword matches, they just auto send the OA, and then if you go through that, then they'll actually put you through a pipeline. So their OA doesn't really count for much, in my opinion. I would say.
That would be wild if even the RenTech HR lady codes.
That
would be next level.
She's probably read a few research papers. I don't think she codes, but or else they would have hired her. But yeah, that was basically it. I think probably within a year of going on getcracked, like I'm kind of planning on going through all the projects. I sort of didn't study hard enough on my template coding and all that back in DSA. So I feel like once I'm good on that, like I probably should be all right for these, because it's been the coding interview for me mostly, I feel.
Yeah. Okay, cool, man. I'll have you fall back. There's a bunch of people that want to call in. Maybe they want to do
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. It was good talk.
All right, see ya.
Peace.